Before we get into the video, I'm doing a giveaway soon. As soon as the YouTube channel hits 1,000 subscribers, as soon as the Facebook page hits 900 followers, and as soon as the Instagram page hits 500 followers, I'm doing a giveaway. Make sure you're following all the social medias, watch out, I'll be doing a video on it soon, and yeah, enjoy. What is good, people? Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about these things here, Mark III Golfs. So Volkswagen in the 90s went a little bit crazy with special editions. Special editions basically a marketing way to sell more cars. Normally they come with a few extra pieces and fancy bits, and in the 90s Volkswagen went a little bit wild with it, and we're going to be talking about my favorite top 10 special editions for the Mark III Golf. My Golf is nothing special about it, it's just a GL spec. It is a good spec for a Golf estate, so it's got all the electronics with it, electronic sunroof, windows, locks, wing mirrors, power steering, bits and bobs like that. It's got aircon, and I've retrofitted some heated seats in it, so just bits and bobs, and it drives very nice. Anyway, we're going to be talking about special edition cars, and I'm going to be listing my top 10 here. So if you do enjoy this video, give it a like and subscribe, and let's get on with it. So in no particular order, let's get that out of the way, no particular order, we're going to be starting off with the Golf Driver, which is basically what cars have been doing for many years, and they still do it today. So we'll take the Audi A3, so you can get them in an S-Line, which is basically a sportier version of a standard A3, and maybe you get some interior bits, upgrades and stuff like that. It doesn't look the same as an S3, nor does it have the same engine, but it just gives it a little bit of a sportier look. So people that may want to look nice on a budget, that's kind of what the Driver is to the GTI. So it has very similar looks, it just doesn't have the engine and half the equipment. The car was cheaper to insure, the car was cheaper to buy. Back in the 90s, there was £12,200 for a Driver model, which is, it seems cheap now, but if you actually convert to inflation, it's probably not cheap at all. It's probably what you're expecting to pay for nowadays cars. So old Drivers had smoke rear lights as standard, they had the pinstriping along the bumpers, they had the spoiler on the back, they had central lock-in, electric sunroof, and bits and bobs as standard. It was available in bright blue metallic, green pearl, alpine white, tornado red, and turquoise metallic with either black or beige interior. If I've mentioned anything that's incorrect or misspoke or anything like that, just do put it in the comments down below, because this is all research. So the next one I want to talk about is the European Tour model. Now during the 90s, Volkswagen sponsored 3 European tours by 3 famous rock bands. So we've got Pink Floyd, Bon Jovi and Rolling Stones. So to celebrate, Volkswagen decorated their Golfs in stickers on the rear quarter, bonnet, tailgate, and even altered the interiors with the branding from the famous bands. But they didn't stop there. The European Tour edition trickled into the estate and cabrio models and sold memorabilia at concerts, which included keyrings, scale model cars, t-shirts, braces, pens, and much more. Why? Because Volkswagen could. They also made a couple of dash blanks as well. I think you could only get these in Pink Floyd version, but these two here, these 2 blanks here are not actually standard. The 2 lights on them are actually for my alarm, so they have no purpose. And what Volkswagen did was they used branding, I believe, from the Pink Floyd one, and you could get a stereo. I believe you could get a stereo, and honestly, loads of stuff. It is a really cool car, and there's not tons about in the UK. I think it was a European only model. So the next special edition I want to talk about is the Match. Now Match you may have seen on Mark IV Golfs, you may have seen them on Polos. So the Match was available at the same time as the Polo, which was the 6N at the time, and the Golf came in either a 1.4 or a 1.9 diesel engine. The diesel was not even turbocharged either. This special edition was not really for the people that wanted the optional extras. It was quite a bare bones model. There was nothing really to shout about. It's just cool because I quite like the logo they put on the back of the cars with them. They did have power steering still. They did have some unique 6-spoke wheels, CD player and match stickers all over the car. So they also did a Joker model as well. So the Joker model featured a very 90s multicool interior, quite similar to the Polo 6N at the time. It came with a sunroof, silver face gauges, smoke rear lights, airbags and Joker exterior stickers. I quite like it because the interior is so retro, it's unbelievable. I just love the multicolours and all that stuff. I'd love to get some retrimmed in some Recaros. Who knows, maybe we'll do it in another video. Now we move on to one of my favourite special editions, the colour concept. So the colour concept was introduced in the mid-90s. Volkswagen released a limited number of cars in only 5 different colours. So you had flash red, jazz blue, salsa green, diamond black, and for some reason it didn't have a quirky name, yellow. The limited batch of cars all had beefed up spec from the standard GTI. Apart from the GTI goodies you got as standard, the colour concept come with 15-inch BBS Solitude alloys, rest in peace BBS, silver face dials, heated washer jets, colour concept badges on the rear door mouldings to replace the GTI ones, special carpet mats with body coloured stitching, black ABC pillars, heated Recaro seats with the centre leather dyed in the same colour the car came in. They also embossed colour concept in all of the seats. They all come with leather steering wheels with matching body coloured stitching and VW logos painted in the same colour. And finally, leather handbrake covers and gear knob gaiters, again in one of the 5 colours. The UK only got 5,000 colour concepts, 1,000 in each colour in both 3 and 5 door options. They're all powered by the very reliable but underpowered 2-litre 8 valve engine. Sadly, never did them for the cabrios, but if you can get on with the Mark III, Mark IV hybrid, they made colour concept 3.5 cabby models. I just love how they just went crazy with it. So you've got the red stitching in the steering wheel. Wait, can you see it? There. And then they did red door cards. They had all the seats were changed. These were actually black colour concept Recaros to start off with, so cool little fact. They all come heated as well, which I've got fitted in mine. I just love how everything was the same colour of the car. I know Audis and your Mercedes and stuff, they often do red leather, but Volkswagen were doing these 20 years ago. I just love the colour concept for that, and the colours you got them in were quite quirky and retro, but they really stood out, especially the salsa green. It was kind of like a lighter green but very bright, and yeah, I just love the colour concept. So the next one is the Harley Quinn. So out of all the strange and unusual special editions, this easily tops the list. Originally, they only built a small amount of Harley Quinn polos, but the multicoloured eco box created enough demand that they ended up building around 3,100 cars due to popular demand. Due to the hype in Europe, Volkswagen decided to make a limited batch of Harley Quinn Golfs for the North American market in 1996. However, only around 264 were built. I know Harley Quinns look like they're a bit all over the place with colours, but they do have 4 colour schemes. These are all dictated by the base colour. Now, the base colour, I'll explain to you here. Well, so, the base colour would have been what colour was painted on this back panel here and the roof. The reason for that is doors, wings, bonnets can all be changed. You can't change this panel here because that's part of the whole chassis. So each colour, whichever colour was on the rear quarter panel, was the main colour of the car. And each colour car had a specific colour scheme. My favourite colour scheme has to be the yellow one, because I think the front end looks best with the red and the green. Put in the comments down below, what was your favourite Harley Quinn model? Which colour was your favourite? The Volkswagen Golf Mark III Anniversary 20th Edition. So marking 20 years of the Volkswagen Golf, spanning over 3 generations, Volkswagen had to celebrate. They only built 1,000 of the celebrated models, 600 in 8 valve, 150 in 16 valve, and only 250 in TDI models. So if you're one of the lucky sods sitting on a 16 valve anniversary, keep it. It's worth noting that the TDI wasn't sold in the UK. It was only a European model. The Golf got a red stitch steering wheel, usually found in the red colour concept. However, the difference is the Volkswagen badge wasn't painted red. They also got the trademark golf ball gear knob usually found on previous models. They also had red seat belts and unique checkered seats with the GTI printed on them. Red brake calipers and red piping for the interior, and red pinstripes surrounding the car. They also came with exclusive 16-inch by 7 BBS RX2 wheels. These are not to be confused with Mark IV Golf or Polo 6N2. So the Polo 6N2 GTI were 15-inch by 6, I believe. Maybe someone can correct me on that. And the Mark IV Golf ones were 16 by 6.5. The anniversary ones were 16 by 7 inch. So they're the more desirable one, the more expensive one. So if you're looking to buy some, that's a good way to know if someone's trying to have you on, because a lot of people will have the Mark IV ones and they'll list them up as anniversary wheels and try and get a bit more cash. So don't get caught out. So next one I want to talk about is the Highline. So only referring to the UK market, only VR6s were Highlines. You couldn't get a GTI or anything like that. The Highline was introduced in 1995. It was basically the top line premium version of the Golf. It cost 2.5 grand more than the standard VR6, and it was only exclusive to only 2 colours. So you could only get it in black magic pearl and purple violet. They all come with aircon, all interior electrics as standard, along with leather seats matching the colour of the car. So you could either get black leathers or purple leathers. They came with black ABC pillars, lower red courtesy lights in the bottom of the door cards, which lit up when the door opened, sill protectors with special VR6 logos, wood effect gear knob. The VW badge on the boot was convex rather than flat like all the other models. BBS solitudes like the colour concept instead of the cross-spoke BBSs like the standard VR6s. Exclusive VR6 badges to the front and the rear, not to be confused with the standard VR6. When looking for Highline VR6s, ask to see the logbook, because what people are doing are rebadging standard VR6s and selling them off as Highlines. All you need to do is get some reproduction badges and wooden gear knob, and you can pretty much sell it off as a Highline. So make sure you look at the logbook. It should say Mark III Golf VR6 Highline. And yeah, don't fall for the trap that many people have probably done. My favourite special edition for a different reason, and that reason is more what current climate we're at right now, where electric cars are starting to be a lot more popular. But Volkswagen have been building electric cars since 1972 with the T2's Transporter. They only made 120, but the Mark 1 and the Mark 2 Golfs were next to receive the silent treatment with their City Stromer electric versions. The all-electric Mark 3 was released in 1993, the same year I was released, and had a range capable of up to 90 kilometres, which wasn't too shabby back then. If you compare the range to modern cars, you'll see how terrible it is, but modern cars need to put some respect on the Mark 3 Golf's name, because the innovative, impressive technology saw on new cars today, such as braking energy recuperation. So the electric car for me, I know it's a very controversial subject at the minute, especially with petrol heads and stuff, but what I appreciate is what people are doing now could owe it to Volkswagen or 20, 30, 40 years ago. Granted, the electric motors were awful, they had bad range and they were hideously slow, but the whole concept of how they made it work, and on such an old car, and there are now companies that are starting to go back with old models and convert them into electric cars. So there's no denying electric cars are not going anywhere anytime soon. I just like how Volkswagen have been doing it a long time ago. So the last special edition I want to talk about is the Golf A59. The A59 was the car that could have took on the Mitsubishi Evo and cemented a competitive position in the WRC. Could have had a Mark III Golf rally. Sadly, Volkswagen dropped out of rallies in the late 80s, but that didn't stop them from building one anyway. In 1992, Volkswagen went on to design and build a 1994 WRC contender, codenamed the A59. Much like the Rally, the A59 had a very aggressive wide body and four-wheel drive system, but ditched the supercharger for a turbo. Schmidt Motorsport developed the prototype, which flaunted a 6-speed gearbox that used electronic differentials to contend with the best cars of the WRC. According to WRC homologation rules, Volkswagen had to build 2,500 road cars, which Volkswagen approved, but sadly the project was axed due to financial reasons. 4 shells were actually built, plus a lost wind tunnel prototype. One of these models can be found in the Volkswagen Museum. Now, the reason why this car for me is the best is, in my opinion, it could have completely reshaped the way the Mark III Golf is perceived. So, we all know Mark II Golfs are a very good car and they're very popular. When the Rally was released in '89, they built 5,000 homologation road cars, which means that they had to build 5,000 road cars in order to compete in the WRC. And I believe personally that's what made Mark IIs even more popular, because it's the Golf R. That's where the Golf R came from. The Rally was initially the first Golf R they built. 4-wheel drive system, more power, bigger wide body, and the Mark III missed out on it. You had the Mark II Rally, then they skipped the Mark III, then they went to the Mark IV R32, the Mark V R32, the Mark 6R, the Mark 7R. It's a little bit of a sour one for me. It's such a shame that they never built it, and they manufactured a whole new engine, and I think it was running roughly around 275 horsepower, which back in the early 90s is Golf R territory. So yeah, it's one I'm really proud of. That really aggressive wide body on the Mark IIIs that they really all should look like. The front end, I'm not 1,000,000% sold on, but I did like it, and I respected, even though Volkswagen wasn't planning on racing in the rallies, they ended up building one anyway, and I just love how they do that. Volkswagen made way more Mark III special editions, and I'm going to list them here. So they built the Rider, the Omar Alt, I might be saying that wrong, the Rabbit Edition, Cool, Coast, Sport, Classic, Carme, Drivers VR6 GTI, Henry LeConte, Henry Lloyd Yachting, SE, Match 2, Family, Trek Edition, Wolfsburg Edition, New Orleans, Europe, Avenue, Move, Savoy and Special. I have to say my favourite is the Harley Quinn. It has to be. I love the A59, but I want a Harley Quinn. I want one really bad. I've seen people attempt it with Transporters and Caddies and Polos, not the 6M Polo, or for newer models, but they just don't look right. The Mark III Golf and the 6M Polo I think was the perfect time to do it. I've also seen people do it in the Mark II, which I don't think looks right either. But anyway, let me know what your favourite special edition is. Do put it in the comments down below. It'd be interesting to know what everyone says, and also what model you have yourself, if you have a special edition yourself. Keep those 16 valve anniversaries, because they're going to be worth a ton of money in the future. If you're watching this video off the back end of one of my other videos I've done, which is should you buy a Mark III Golf in 2021, this video shows what other models, these special editions, could potentially be worth even more than your GTIs and stuff, especially the Highline model and the anniversary, the Harley Quinn's worth tons of money. So yeah, keep your Mark III. If you've not seen that video already, go check it out. It's very good. A lot of people have enjoyed it, and I might have saved a couple of Mark IIIs from that video, which is always a good thing. So that was my top 10 favourite special editions. Let me know in the comments down below what your favourite one was. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another video. Peace!